3 crores, which includes provision of impairments loss of 1,000 crores in the corresponding quarter last year. Adjusting for this impairment loss, reported PBT was 307 crores. Comparing reported PBT for the current quarter with that of the adjusted PBT, there was a growth of 148 crores for the quarter. Now, to understand the underlying performance of the company, we will take you to the non-recurring item first during the course of the quarter. We first talk about the non-recurring items of the current quarter. There are two items in the non-recurring items. First, in the fuel cost under recovery of 38 crores pertaining to Q3, which we had talked about at the time of Q3 conference call, was recovered in Q4. Second is the economic activity that our distribution franchise area continued to show uptick in demand as witnessed in Q3 of FY21. Year-on-year demand was up by 7% for the quarter as compared to degrowth of 3% witnessed in Q3. So the March of the previous year was impacted due to COVID-related lockdown. Hence, numbers may not be strictly comparable. If we compare the demand during the January and February of this year versus that of the previous year, we have almost reached a pre-COVID level, which is in line with our expectation as explained in the previous quarter. Demand growth coupled with the increase in the vigilance activity help us to curb the commercial losses in our franchise distribution area, which has resulted in the recovery of areas against which we had made provision in the past quarters. Provision of about 13 crores reversed in the course of the quarter. We expect that going forward in next 2-3 quarters, we would be able to recover material amounts of overdues in Agra and Bhiwandi, resulting in the reversal of provisions made in the past quarters. Now, considering all non-recurring items, these two items, I would say, there was a net credit in P&L of Q4 to the tune of 51 crores. Now, coming back to the non-recurring item of Q4 of FY20, we had a similar non-recurring item in FY20 also. So there are about 5 items, non-recurring items in FY20. And for which we had made a provision in Q4 FY20. The first item is about 1,000 crores impairment provision on carrying value of 1,200 megawatt diesel power project we have made in last quarter, Q4 FY20. As discussed in our last year call, this is non-gas adjustment under applicable accounting standard. These are lead to the reduction in P&L charges in depreciation for the current as well as future years by about 80 crores per annum. The second item, we have made provision of 51 crores towards potential damages and other project-related costs related to Wind 65 wind project due to expected delay in setting up the wind power project. The third item is about 48 crores provision, doubtful debt provision we have made in Q4 FY20 for our franchise distribution business, which is due to COVID lockdown. The last one is a positive side, which about 22 crores we have accounted for as a regulatory gap based on the favorable orders from the regulators in our license distribution area. Considering these four non-recurring items, there was a net charge on P&L of Q4 FY20 of 1077 crores. Adjusting for above one-off items of Q4 for current quarter as well as the previous quarter, comparable previous quarter, adjusted PBT for the quarter stood at 404 crores as compared to 384 crores in corresponding quarter of last year. PBT is up by about 20 crores. To adjust the PBT of 20 crores in the current quarter is higher mainly because of there are about 5-6 reasons are there. First reason is the gross reduction in finance cost by 59 crores, attributable to the lower rate of interest as well as reduction in average repayment for the quarter. We have made the prepayment of about 350 crores in the quarter, apart from the normal repayments. We have not taken any new borrowing during the course of the quarter. The average interest rate for the quarter was lower by 150 basis points as compared with the corresponding quarter of the last year. On an overall basis, a year as a whole, we have in fact reduced our gross debt by more than 1,000 crores. The saving in finance costs is also partially offset by the reduction in the treasury income also, which is about 8 crores. This is mainly because of the carrying lower treasury balance as well as lower yield in the treasury portfolio. The third item is we have made a gain on sale of excess RLNG, and we have made a profit of 50 crores out of sale of LNG. The fourth item is there is a subdued wind power project. In case of wind power project, there is a subdued generation, and which has due to lower wind speed, which has impacted the profitability by 21 crores. The fifth item is there is a higher T&D losses. Still, there are higher T&D losses in our license distribution business in Q4 as compared with FY20. And there will be a lower saving because of the higher T&D losses, which has impacted the profitability by 23 crores. And still, in franchise distribution area, we are reporting higher T&D losses as compared with the comparable quarter of last year, which has impacted the profitability by 38 crores. However, there are substantial improvement in operational performance of the quarter on a quarter-to-quarter basis, reflecting improving condition in the economy. This can be substantiated from the fact that the demand growth for our company in Q4 was 11%. It's higher by 11% on year-on-year basis. If we can give the breakup, then license distribution has grown up by 13%, and franchise distribution has grown up by 7%. This is compared to the Q3 of the last year, current year, it has shown a remarkable improvement as there was a degrowth in Q3. In license distribution, there was a degrowth of 1%, and franchise distribution, there was a degrowth of 3%. Moving on to the PAT number, considered PAT reported for the quarter was 408 crores as compared to loss of 290 crores in corresponding quarter last year, which was higher by about 698 crores. Coming to the tax number Q4 of the last year as one-time accounting of deferred tax asset, and we have recognized the unutilized MAT credit in the course of last year. This completes the overview of the quarterly performance. Now I request the participant to raise any questions which they have on performance of the company in Q&A session. We wish everybody to stay safe and healthy lives. Thank you. Handing over to the moderator.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Bhavin Vithlani from SBI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity and congratulations for good set of numbers. So my first question is on the distribution circles. All the 4, Ahmedabad, Surat, Bhiwandi, Agra. If you could help us with what is the percentage contribution from the commercial and industrial consumers on the volumes, and how are we seeing the volume traction over the last 2 months, April and May till date?
I mean, in terms of composition of volumes, we talked about first Ahmedabad. Other than industrial and commercial was about 38%. Other than industrial commercial, it is 62%. Last year, 1920, and this year it is about 58%. So there was 4% swing in terms of industrial consumption, commercial as well as industrial consumption in case of Ahmedabad. While in case of Surat, also similar pattern was there. 75% is non-industrial consumer, and in 1920, and the current year it is about 71%. So there is a swing about 4% in even Surat also. In case of Bhiwandi, non-industrial and commercial was 91%. 91%. The same composition. Bhiwandi, there is no change in the composition, I would say. And Agra also same percentage, 43% other than retail consumer. So Bhiwandi in Agra, there is not much change, but in Ahmedabad and Surat, there is about 4% change in the composition of the consumer.
Sure. And how are we seeing the volume behavior in the last 1.5 months of April and May?
So we Q4, if you look at, we have in license distribution business, we have reported about 13% rise in the volume and 11%, I would say. And in terms of franchisee, about 7% increase in the volumes.
Sure. So, given the way we have the second wave which has hit, how are you seeing the year ahead? And lastly, if you could also help us with the capex plans for FY22, and if you could break that into various subsegments.
Yeah, I can give the update about the capex plans, capex which we have incurred for the current year. So though we have impacted by the COVID, but overall capex was pretty good, I would say. License distribution business, we have incurred more than about 1,000 crores capex for the current year. Franchise also we have incurred about 200 crores capex, and some other areas we have incurred about 100 crores odd capex. So capex was pretty good, I would say. Later it has picked up in H2. And we maintain our same guidelines about the capex for FY22 also. That 1,200 crores for license distribution business and about 250 crores in franchise distribution area.
Sure. Thank you so much for taking the questions.
Thank you. Participants, to ask a question, you may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Is it possible to share the breakup of EBITDA asset-wise for FY21 and Q4 FY21?
So I can update PBIT numbers of FY20. You want quarter-wise or the full year-wise? Quarter-wise. Q4 I can give it to you. Q4 gas-based generation I made PBIT of 143 crores. And our renewable generation about 88 crores. License distribution 183 crores. Franchise 154 crores. And total PBIT we have made about 557 crores. So this is before one-off items. This is before one-off items. So one-off items are the 238 crores we have accounted the gain, fuel cost adjustment, which charge we have taken in the last Q3, which got reversed in Q4. And 13 crores bad debt provision we have reversed in our franchise distribution area. So we have recovered more in the current quarter. So this is without these two one-off items. And finance cost was net up about 153 crores. So this is the breakup about the PBIT business segment wise for the Q4. Hello?
The line for the current participant is disconnected. We'll move on to the next question. The next question is from the line of Aniket Mittal from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. So my first question was actually on the DF business itself. Obviously, with things normalizes, if you could provide us maybe an outlook for FY22, what sort of, let's say, AT&C losses can we look at from a full year perspective, as well as, power demand in these two circles? How do you look at that for FY22?
As far as franchise business is concerned, if you look at the COVID in Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, there was good progress we have made in franchise distribution area. I can give the example like in Q1, Bhiwandi, the T&D loss was about 25%. And we ended up the year with the average loss of 16%. So there is a fair good amount of progress we have made. Though it was not comparable with the last year. Last year it was about 12% in case of the overall T&D losses. But we made a good progress in terms of T&D losses in case of Bhiwandi. In case of Agra also, when we have started the year with the COVID, the T&D loss is about 23%, and we have ended up with about 13.5% T&D losses for the Agra also. So Agra also we made a good progress during the course of the year in terms of improving, containing the T&D losses. So it was not comparable. Last year, full year T&D loss was about 12.5%. So it's 1% higher as compared with the last year. But even though the current situation because of the COVID, we have made a good progress in terms of even T&D losses also. In terms of collection efficiency in Q3 and Q4, we are clocking more than 100% collection efficiency, both in case of Bhiwandi as well as Agra. So, and that is why we are making the past recovery of the bad debt provision which we have made up to H1.
Yeah. So Aniket, just to add to Saurabh, I think your question was FY22 outlook. So as such, we don't provide any outlook per se, but if you look at the trend in which we have progressed in terms of quarters, so Q4 being much better quarter, and that also gives you a highlight of how FY22 should look like. So all our aim would be to reduce AT&C losses or T&D losses going forward on a gradual basis. COVID now being a thing of past as of now, we expect that it should improve going forward, and we should be back in the trajectory of reducing the AT&D losses.
So even from a demand perspective, let's say in April, May, have things sort of normalized?
Lockdown in Maharashtra, for example, Bhiwandi, there will be some impact, not material impact. Like we saw the lockdown like in month of April 2020 and May 20. So some impact will be there, but not material, I would say.
So as such, Aniket, there was lockdown, but then industries were still running to some extent. There was an impact on the commercial segment, but not much on residential and industrial segment.
Okay, so just to get a better understanding, in terms of, let's say, our AT&C losses, would it be fair to assume that in FY22 we are looking at more of a normalized number as to what we were in FY20? That be a fair assumption to make?
So the idea is to keep on improving on the past numbers, FY20 being the base. As far as projections or forecasts are concerned, we will not be able to share those outlook numbers.
Okay, so in just maybe in the collection part as well, I think if I remember correctly, over the past few quarters, we had done a provisioning of somewhere close to 150 crores, right? And up till now, exactly, we have recovered around 43 crores, if I'm not mistaken. So
yes, exactly, perfect.
Okay,
yes.
So the balance, we expect that to come in this year as well?
The balance, if you look at the composition, we have three franchise distribution, Agra, Bhiwandi and SNK. So we are expecting the Bhiwandi and Agra will be fully recovered. SNK being a new area, still it will take some time for the recovery.
Okay, so some amount of this would be for SNK. Okay.
Yes, some amount of this will be from SNK, but Bhiwandi and Agra, we are hoping that we are able to recover in next 2-3 quarters.
That's weird. So my next question was actually on the interest cost. I think there's a very sharp reduction that we've seen in the cost of borrowing. And if you could just highlight me what's our average cost of borrowing right now, and are there any further resets that we can expect in FY22?
See, borrowing interest rate is about 100. As we explained, 150 basis points down as compared with the last Q4. So we have a significant reduction in terms of rate of interest. Our average borrowing cost is about 7.75% as on Q4. And I think interest rate is stabilizing. So stabilize, I would say. So it will be around that level also. It is about 7.75%.
Okay. Sure. Thank you. I'll join back in the queue.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bharani Jaykumar from Spark Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good morning, gentlemen. So can you give the split of EBITDA for FY21, like you gave for gas, renewables, license distribution, and franchise distribution?
We gave it for PBIT numbers we have shared, so that should be okay. 21.
We
just hold on.
are even getting EBITDA
Just hold on, we'll do for the FY21 also.
Full year?
Okay.
So I give you the PBIT numbers of full year. So gas test project about 362 crores. Then renewable, this is other than one-off item. This is normalized PBT we are talking about. So renewable about 374 crores.
How much? Gas?
362 crores.
Okay.
Renewable 374 crores.
Okay.
License distribution 838 crores.
Okay.
Franchise is 478 crores.
Okay.
And total is 1992 crores. What close to 2,000 crores.
Okay. And after one-offs?
After one-off, is the PBT numbers. Then after
Okay.
one-off, PBT is about 1552 crores.
So how does this compare with FY20 numbers? The same PBIT, sir? Same four numbers?
PBIT is 2,000.
We want unit.
Yeah, same comparison like before one-off.
KSS 288 crores, renewal 430 crores, license is 954 crores, franchise is 761 crores, and total is 2374 crores. And PBT numbers reported is about before impairment 1475.
Okay. Before impairment.
Impairment of 1,000 crores, it is 1475. So comparable number, PBT reported number is 1552 for the current year, FY21, and last year it is 1475 before impairment.
Okay. So according to you, this 1192 PBIT in FY21, so how much can this be for FY22, or say without an impact due to COVID in FY23, for example, how much can it go back to?
We can't give the guidance for FY22. We can give the historical number, but we can't able to give the guidance about the FY22.
Okay. And the profit that we earned this quarter in the sale of LNG, so that is part of which segment that you mentioned here? Is it part of the gas segment?
Gas-based project.
Okay. And this is of course higher than the about 50 crores of profits we'd earned in selling merchant power. So this would probably...
Merchant power is very small amount, but the gas contribution is much higher this quarter.
Right. So what is your view on how this will move, this sale of LNG, this number, because now prices are again firming up?
Yeah, so it's depending about the opportunities available. So we can't talk about it's based on the opportunity available.
Okay. And can you broadly give a sense of our endeavors in the new areas where, say, distribution, privatization, or franchisees opportunity opening up? How would our efforts and strategy, be going forward in terms of bidding, winning, etc.?
In terms of government is very keen to privatize union territory first, and then I think state government will see the benefits of the privatization, and they will also start doing it. That is what our perception is. So government has started with the Daman, Dadra Nagar Haveli and Diu, and they also offer the Chandigarh also. So Dadra, we got we are L1, we got this Daman area, but this matter is currently subsidized. So. And Chandigarh also, we have bidded for the Chandigarh, but the financial bid is not yet open. So we are keen that the government is opening up the union territories. So we are participating in the bidding.
Okay. And how about our efforts in renewable space and in transmission space?
Renewal, on a case-to-case basis, we are bidding the project. Like we won about 300 megawatt with the TPLD. So in Andhra Pradesh also we won 300 megawatt, which is currently subsidized. So on a case-to-case basis, we are evaluating and we are participating in the bidding.
Okay, so the current 800 megawatts in renewables, any outline strategy number we have in mind as to, we will reach so much in the next 3 to 5 years in terms of capacity?
So Bharani, we don't have any outlook numbers per se in terms of renewables, but as Saurabh said, we keep on looking at each and every bid and then decide whether to bid or not. But we don't have any specific targets in mind that we want to reach a particular target for renewable generation 5 year hence as of now.
Okay. That's it from my side. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anuj Upadhyay from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Thanks for the opportunity. So like you gave a breakup for the T&D loss plus the franchisee segment, Bhiwandi and Agra. Can we get it for other circles as well, like Ahmedabad, Surat and Kalwa, Chile area for FY21?
I can give you the Ahmedabad number. Ahmedabad number, T&D loss was about, it's a full year number, will be more relevant in case of license distribution.
Sure. Full year on.
So last year, 1920, about 4.98% was the T&D loss for the full year. And this year we ended up with 6.03. So there was some increase in T&D losses, mainly because of we lost industrial consumption in H1, so which has impacted the overall T&D loss for the year. So 6.03 is the number for the full year. In case of Surat also, last year it was 3.43 for the full year, and the current year we ended up with 4.06. And the Dahej also, it's a very small amount, 0.31% in the last year, and current year it is 0.49%.
So 1.31 last year and 0.49 this year, right sir?
Yeah, 0.49, 0.31 last year, 0.49 this year.
Anuj, these numbers are already there on the presentation which we have uploaded.
Okay. Fine. And sir, you mentioned about the growth in licensee and franchisee of 11% and 7% respectively. Can we get breakup as well? How much percent in Ahmedabad, Surat, and sub-segment wise in the franchisee as well?
In Ahmedabad, Q4 it is grown up by 12%. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Ahmedabad it is 12%. Surat is about 50. We grown by 15%. Dahej is about 25%. Bhiwandi about 7%. Agra is about 8%, and SNK is about 4%. So distribution license. Sorry.
This was for Q4, right, sir?
Yeah, this is for Q4, yes. So license distribution overall 13% growth for the current quarter as compared with the comparable quarter of last year. And franchise about 7% growth. Overall, we grown by 11%.
Fair enough. Can I get the similar level for Q4 last year as well? FY20?
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Upadhyay. So there is a disturbance coming from your line. Request you to mute your line while the management answers your question.
Fair enough. We'll do that.
This number I have given as compared with the last year Q4 numbers, growth numbers.
Fair enough, sir. I got it.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Noel from Ashika Group. Please go ahead.
Hello. Just most of my questions have already been answered, but I just want to clarify one figure. So the segmental EBIT for the distribution franchise business is about 478 crores for FY21?
FY21, 478 crores, yes.
And the previous year was what figure? Maybe that
761 crores.
761 crores. So this decrease is attributable primarily due to the COVID impact, as in the drop in...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And primarily in H1, basically. Mainly it is because of the COVID, and most of the loss we have incurred in H1.
Okay. Yeah, that is the only query that I had. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shubdeep Mitra from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you for the opportunity. So just a clarification on that FY21 PBIT numbers. I think for the gas-based plants, what is the number for FY21 and FY20 that you mentioned? I missed those numbers.
Gas-based PBIT for the full year is 362 crores for the current year, FY21. And FY20 it was 288 crores.
So this is basically before the one-off adjustments which you just mentioned.
Correct. So this is, so as in, these are net of the one-off adjustments? That's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Correct. So the largest impact in PBIT on a YOY basis, if I am to look at, is primarily on the franchise part of it, where there has been a large reduction because of the COVID impact. Am I right?
Absolutely.
So here, so on this aspect, I mean, looking at the second wave and other things, I know you mentioned that industrial activities have not been as badly impacted as last year. But overall, let's say in April and May, is there any sense of what kind of demand destruction that you may have seen in franchise? Can you give us a sense?
Some reduction will happen because of lockdown and other restrictions. Some reduction is going to happen. But I would
say ballpark range.
One can assume about with FY20 April 20 we can't compare because it's an affected number. So if we compare
last year, correct.
19 from compared with the 19, about 5-6% reduction would be possible. I would say would be there. 5%.
So, but Subhadeep, I think you'll have to understand these are only April numbers, and if once we move towards May and June, and if things start improving, I think we can see reversal in this.
You can make it up from the rest of the year. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Valid point. I understand that. Secondly, so in terms of the merchant related profits that you would have made for full year FY21 versus FY20, would you be able to share that?
Yeah, I can share with you. Last year, full year. Okay, so last year we sold about 1,600 MUs, and we made about 153 crores profit from the merchant. And this year about 1,500 MUs, or 70 crores profit we have made.
Okay, so this is largely so the reduction, because I think the volume numbers are not very different, but the profit numbers have changed quite a bit, and this is despite the fact that I think merchant prices were on the upswing in the current year. So any particular reason why the profit number has halved?
But upswing you can see from the January onwards.
So basically, Subhadeep, all these merchant power sales happened in H1 of this year, and typically that is how things work in terms of our merchant sales. So if you see H1 of this year, there was a drastic reduction in merchant power rate. But comparable gas power rates are also lower, and that's why you are seeing that we have made profits even after such a low rates in H1 on merchant basis.
Okay, I understand now. Lastly, on these, the Daman and the Dadra Nagar Haveli, the franchise which is currently sub judice, is there any progress there or any update on that you can share?
We can expect some hearing to happen somewhere around June, July. So we are waiting for the hearing to happen.
Okay, understood. That's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sumit Kishore from Axis Capital. Please go ahead.
Good morning. Thanks for the opportunity. So for the solar PPAs which have been signed so far, 400 megawatt, what is the capex you expect to incur there in this financial year? And could you also comment on the expectation on IRRs here, especially in light of the fact that polysilicon prices went up, and we are hearing of certain Chinese players trying to renegotiate on the equipment procurement by the local developers in India. That will be my first question.
So as far as the capex cost is concerned, all put together for the 400 megawatts, we are expecting around 1600 to 1700 crores, roughly 4 crores on a ballpark number, 4 crores per megawatt. As far as cost of modules are concerned, I think GUVNL, we are trying to see what we can do in terms of utilizing the contingency which were there, and we expect that we will be able to maintain the low teen IRRs which we had given. But we are trying to look at the situation right now. As far as another 300 megawatts of TPLD is concerned, I think we are slightly better off in that because the tariff discount is 2.22, and there was some contingency which we had put in as far as module cost is concerned. So that I think we will maintain a low teen IRRs there.
Okay, what is the capex that you will incur this year, and what exactly is this contingency that you're talking about? Could you please elaborate?
So when we bid a project, we keep certain amount of safety margin. So I am talking about dipping into that contingency or the safety margin which we would have kept. As far as capex amount for this year is concerned, I think you can assume 50 to 60% of the total project cost to be incurred this year, and the balance should get deferred to the next year.
Okay. So my second question is, could you give us a sense on what is the EBITDA and net loss contribution from DGEN in the last financial year, and what would be your medium-term outlook or strategy for this project? I mean, I know in your presentation you also mentioned the possibility of flexible generation to sell pooled RTC power with renewable and gas. Could you please elaborate on the roadmap for DGEN and performance in FY21?
So your first question is on terms of EBITDA?
Yeah, EBITDA and net loss contribution from DGEN.
So I'll say we will have to look at the depreciation and interest cost as a net charge on the P&L. So if you just combine that, it would be roughly around 400 crores. Because merchant sales we look at on a company level basis rather than looking at on a plant basis.
Okay. So 400 crores is for the full year.
Yeah. Full year, yes.
Yeah. So what would be your medium-term outlook and strategy for this project here on?
So as far as DGEN is concerned, on a short-term basis or a medium-term outlook, it will have to be dependent on the merchant sales, which we keep on doing on a year-on-year basis. If you look at, I think COVID being a difficult year, apart from that, we have been able to improve the PLFs of DGEN on a year-on-year basis. So the 19 saw some 6% PLF, FY20 saw around 8 to 9% PLF in DGEN. So on an incremental basis, we look to improve the utilization of DGEN on a merchant basis. But on a long-term basis, I think we will have to look at long-term PPAs to be signed, which are very far and few to come as of now.
Okay. My last question is, could you provide an update on the regulated equity base for the distribution licensee businesses that you have, and any change in the regulatory asset position as of FY21 end?
Regulatory equity as on March 21 for our distribution business is about 2772 crores.
Okay. Roughly, what is the breakup between Ahmedabad, Surat, and others?
License distribution I am talking about. Ahmedabad is about 2032 crores. Surat is 697 crores, and Dahej is about 44 crores.
Amgen would be over and above.
Amgen is about 427 crores, over and above this distribution thing.
Okay. And so regulatory asset?
Regulatory asset, we have about 1,500 crores regulatory assets, out of which about recognized is about 1,100 crores, 1,100 crores.
So what is the total regulated equity base and regulatory assets at the end of FY20 stand at, just for comparison?
20?
Yes.
20 was 1,658 crores.
Regulatory assets.
Regulatory assets.
And REB?
Sorry?
And regulated equity base at the end of FY20?
20 is 1,658 crores.
No, sir. Regulated equity base.
QBT.
We'll give it to you in some time.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity once again, sir. What is the kind of existing gas tie-up we have for FY22 and the prices at which we are locked in currently?
We have booked about 8 cargoes and our gas price is about $4.36.
Okay. Yes. Secondly, sir, does it make sense for us to participate in some of the bids which happen for the domestic gas fields? Do you think it makes sense for us to tie up in longer term from this?
We are participating. We are participating in domestic gas bid.
Okay. Understood. So what is the reserves for franchisee area right now? And what is the amount written back for entire FY21? I think you spoke about it. I missed on that number.
So, see, we met that provision which we made up to H1 is about 150 crores, Q4 as well as H1. Out of which 31 crores we have recovered in Q3 and 13 crores we have recovered in Q4.
So the
net amount is about 100 and net amount would be about 105 crores as of March 31st.
Understood, sir. And sir, what is the regulator was thinking of coming up with MYT regulation? Is it postponed right now?
It's postponed by 1 year. Yeah, it is postponed by 1 year.
Understood, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. That's it all on my side. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aniket Mittal from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity once again. Actually, most of my questions have been answered. So just one question actually in the wind part. We've again seen, despite a higher capacity addition, the wind PLFs being a bit lower in 4Q as well. And there I think have been, some media articles highlighting that, the wind patterns or wind PLFs themselves may not necessarily be what one was expecting them to be. Just heading into FY22, just wanted to understand your sense over here. The reason for, let's say, a decline in the PLF in 4Q as well, and how do we see it going forward?
It is mainly because the wind resources are lower this year. So this is we would say it's an abnormal situation in the current year. We hope that the situation, wind resources will be normalized going forward.
Okay. So but anything, structurally, is there something that's changed? Because we've been hearing a lot of, people raising certain change in environment that's actually impacted the patterns happening for wind itself.
It's a one-off kind of a situation for the current year. That is what one can say.
So it's too premature to say anything as of now on that.
To make a conclusion after 1 year.
Sure. Understand. And so my next question is just to understand on this LNG trading, income that you've got. Just to clarify, this entire amount is in 4Q itself, or is it more like an FY21 phenomenon, the RLNG profit that you've mentioned?
In Q4 only.
Okay. And so this is over and above the 38 crore recovery that you've got?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so there's a 38 crore recovery, there's a 50 crore profit on RLNG, and then there's a 13 crore recovery of areas as well. So that understanding is correct. These would be the three one-offs then.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
yes, cheating can't be treated as a one-off because we generally regularly doing it. So this 50 crores gain cannot be treated as a one-off items.
Okay. Okay. I mean, then what would be that number for the full year? Means-
50 crores only, 50.
Okay. And why has it then particularly come in this quarter? I mean, this 50 crore case. If you could just explain that to me.
Good opportunity. We good opportunity. So we have we sell it. We sold it.
Okay. 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 And just a couple more questions. One is, sir, on the solar projects that you've actually bid for, could you help me with how the PLF for those two plants can look like, which is the 100 megawatt GUVNL plant and the TPCD 300 megawatt plant? What sort of PLFs are we looking at?
So Aniket, right now, as per our latest last estimates, we had said that it would be roughly around 28-29%. We are reworking on that, but as of now, it should be around 28%.
Okay. Reworking instance, are you looking at different modules? Is that the...
We might look at deploying different strategy there, but as of now, not decided as of now. So I think we should work at right now 28%.
28%. All right. And just an update on the Andhra Pradesh bid that you made. I think you're also L1 over there. So any update on that part?
It's just subjudice.
Okay. Sure. Thank you. That's it from me.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bhavin Vithlani from SBI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity again. So this question is relating to the provisions that we made for the SECI bids. If you could give us an update, have we seen cash outflows or they're still provisions?
It's a provision, so there is no cash outflow so far. So provision, we on a conservative basis, we have made provision for two projects last year. About 213 crores provision we have made last year. So there is no cash outflow as of now we have incurred.
Sure. Are we what stage are we? Like any possibility of a outcome in this financial year?
We have to see. We have to wait and watch how whether government is giving extensions and whether there is any feasibility of revamping it. So I think we will have some more clarity going forward.
Sure. The last question is, December 22 was the set deadline for Amgen retirement. So any update on that, and the quantum of reduction in that PPA, how is the distribution circle? Can they tie up with DGEN or they will have to call competitive bids?
So they have to call a competitive bid, so as per the regulation. So appropriately, we will take it up with the GRC as and when we are approaching the date.
Sure. And any change in that December 22 deadlines for retirement?
I think government has, they state that you can continue with some additional cost or 20 paisa per unit cost one has to incur, pay to the government.
Okay. So for how long is that we can continue generating from Amgen?
So I think there is slight complication here in terms of Amgen is concerned. It is part of an islanding capacity also for Ahmedabad. So it is not that simple a matter. We are in discussion or will be discussing this with GRC over a period of time. But whether they allow us to decommission that plant or they ask us to continue with this plant will depend on the discussions which we have. So right now it is too early to comment anything on that plant as of now. So even though the deadlines have been extended by paying some paisa per unit, it is difficult to tell as of now when the decommissioning is imposed or whether we will be decommissioning that plant. It's similar to kind of Danu plant in Bombay, which still operates as of now because of sheer islanding capacity of Bombay.
I understand. Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking my question.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Just one clarification. Sir, what is our P75 EBITDA for our renewables portfolio for a full year?
No, sorry, P75.
EBITDA for our current portfolio of renewables.
So from the full year basis, I can give you the PBIT numbers.
No. So I'm asking the P75 EBITDA, expected EBITDA for the entire portfolio.
No. So I think it is difficult to give you that number per se. You don't give forecast as of now, but
No. I'm not asking, sir. Okay.
P75 EBITDA. We'll have to get that number. We don't have that number as of now.
Sure, sir. But how much generation could have been higher, given expecting a normal year, let's say from the current generation?
If you look at the PLF, for example, last year average PLF was about 24% roughly, and this year we got about 21%. So this is what the difference is for Q4.
Understood, sir. Understood. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anuj Upadhyay from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity again, sir. One clarification on the capex front. In the initial remark, you mentioned the capex would be to the tune of 1,400 odd crores, bifurcated among 1,000 within the license segment, 200 franchisee, and 100 others. And later on, you mentioned that of the solar, for the 400 megawatt of solar under construction project, we would be incurring around 1,600 crores of capex, which would be span out over the next 2 to 3 years, of which 40 to 50% odd could be incurred currently. So is my understanding correct that including renewable, the capex could be to the tune of 2,000 plus crores?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. We would like to remind participants that you may press star 1 to ask a question. As there are no further questions, I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Harshvardhan Dole from IIFL Capital for closing comments.
Well, Saurabh bhai, I had a couple of questions from my side, if you don't mind.
Yes.
First is the LNG prices have seen a substantial escalation in last few months, and we had a certain term contract which gave us a favorable input price. What is going to be our gas sourcing strategy in such volatile LNG price environment? That's number one. And number two, in case there's going to be sustained volatility, would our trading contracts give us a similar hedge going forward?
We are watching the situation. Though yes, we are agree that the price has gone up, but our view is that on a medium-term basis there will be a surplus. Gas will be oversupplied. So we are hoping that the price will come down. So it's a temporary situation. That is what we currently our view is.
So are we planning to call any long-term bids as of now, which will cover us beyond FY21 calendar year?
We are waiting the right time to come for the bidding.
And Harsh, anyways, if we go for a very long period, it will always be a quantity contract rather than price contract. So you can't go much beyond specific time.
Sure, understood. Second part was in terms of the dividend payout.
Yes.
I mean, relative to the cash flows, I think, do you think that there is a scope for the payout to increase here on? Or you would still prefer to preserve the capital and aspire some growth opportunities?
Our normal dividend policy is 40%. We have this year we have increased to 30% normal dividend policy. We have an increase to 40% for the current year. So we have increased the dividend percentage to 40% this year.
Sure, great.
We are keeping we are keeping the balance between the growth and the dividend.
So Harsh, basically, earlier policy was 30%. We strive to pay dividend of 30% of consolidated profit. That we have slightly increases it to 40% from 30%.
That's great to know. Thank you. Well, that's it from my side. On behalf of IIFL, I'd like to thank the management for giving us an opportunity to host the call. And also thank you all the participants for logging into the call. In case you have any further questions, drop me a line. I'll forward them to the management and get it answered. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of IIFL Capital Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.
Thank you so much. Thank you.